You have been a corrections officer at Westfield Correctional for 7 years. It is not a career anyone dreams about as a kid, but it is steady work. $52,000 a year. Health benefits. A pension if you can survive 40 years without getting shanked or losing your mind. You work the DB block cell block. Maximum security. The kind of place where silence is a threat and eye contact is a challenge. You are good at your job. You follow protocol. You do not take bribes. You do not look the other way. The other guards respect you for it, even if they think you are naive. But the truth is simpler than that. You have seen what happens to guards who cross lines. They start small. A cigarette here, a phone number passed there. Then one day, they are smuggling drugs or taking cash payments and everything falls apart. You have a family, a wife, 2 kids, a 13-year-old daughter who wants to play travel soccer, and an 11-year-old son who needs braces. You have a mortgage on a house that is worth less than you paid for it. You have a used car with 170,000 miles that makes a sound you do not want to think about. You live paycheck to paycheck in the specific way that means one unexpected expense could collapse everything. Then your wife gets the diagnosis, stage 3 breast cancer, aggressive. The oncologist uses words like chemotherapy and radiation and mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. Your insurance covers some of it, not all of it, never all of it. The co-pays alone will be $10,000. The deductible is another $7,000. There are experimental treatments that might help, but insurance classifies those as elective. Elective, as if choosing to live longer is optional. You do the math in your head while sitting in the oncologist's office holding your wife's hand. $14,000 minimum, maybe $30,000 if complications happen. And complications always happen. You have $2,000 in savings. You do not have family who can help. Your wife's parents are on a fixed income. Your brother is barely making rent in another state. You start looking at second jobs, night security, weekend warehouse shifts, driving for rideshare apps after your prison shifts. But the math does not work. Even working 70 hours a week, you cannot close the gap fast enough. The cancer does not wait for you to save up. That is when Marcus Deveau starts talking to you. Marcus is 47 years old, serving 25 to life for drug trafficking and racketeering. He has been in Westfield for 9 years. He is quiet, respectful, the kind of inmate who reads philosophy books and does not start problems. Other inmates leave him alone because he still has connections outside, the kind of connections that make people careful. You are doing your rounds on a Tuesday afternoon when Marcus calls you over to his cell. He does not yell. He just makes eye contact and gestures politely. You walk over even though you are not supposed to have extended conversations with inmates. He asks how your wife is doing. You freeze. You have not told anyone at work about the diagnosis. You ask him how he knows. He says word travels. He says he has friends who work in the administration building. He says he knows your wife's name and your kids' names, and the fact that your daughter plays soccer. The pickup happens on a Sunday afternoon. You drive to a storage facility 30 miles outside the city. Unit 2 and 17. The lock is already open. Inside is a manila envelope, sealed, thick. You do not open it. You do not want to know what is inside. You tell yourself that if you do not know, then you are not really complicit. It is just paper, just documents. That is what Marcus said. You bring it into the prison on Monday morning. Your heart is pounding so hard, you are sure the metal detector operator can hear it. But you have been a guard here for 6 years. They trust you. They wave you through without a second glance. The envelope is taped to your lower back under your uniform shirt. It is not even a good hiding spot, but no one is looking. You deliver it to Marcus during evening rounds when the cameras in DB block are on their rotation. 20 seconds of blind spot. You hand him the envelope through the food slot. He takes it without a word. No thank you. No acknowledgement, just a brief nod. 2 days later, you check the P.O. box. There is a plain white envelope with 50 $100 bills inside. You count it 3 times. $5,000. More money than you have ever held at once in your entire life. You deposit it in 3 separate ATMs over the course of a week. You tell your wife you picked up overtime shifts. She does not question it. She is too tired from the medication to think about anything except getting through the next day. The first round of chemotherapy happens. You pay in cash. The hospital does not care where money comes from as long as it comes. Your wife loses her hair. Your daughter cries. Your son stops eating. You hold them all together while trying not to think about the envelope and what might have been inside it. Then Marcus approaches you again. It is 3 weeks later. Same polite gesture. Same respectful tone. Another package. But this time it is $10,000, and this time he is not asking, he is telling. Because you already crossed the line, because you took his money, because if you say no now, he can report you to the administration, and you lose your job and your pension, and any chance of paying for your wife's treatment. You want to say no. You want to believe you have a choice. But the truth is, the choice was made the moment you took the first envelope. Everything after that is just consequences playing out. You pick up the second package. This one is heavier. You tell yourself it is still documents, maybe legal papers, maybe financial records. Nothing illegal, nothing that hurts anyone. You do not open it. You do not want to know. You took his money to save your wife. Then you took the FBI's deal to save yourself. You served 2 masters and betrayed them both. Thomas Riley's widow never finds out that you helped plan the escape that killed her husband. The FBI keeps that detail classified. She thinks her husband died because of a security failure, a random tragedy. Bad luck. You let her believe it. What else can you do? Your wife finishes her treatment. The cancer is in remission. She is alive. Your daughter makes varsity soccer. Your son gets his braces off. Your family is intact and healthy and safe. You did everything to protect them. You crossed every line. You helped criminals. You got a man killed. You betrayed everyone who trusted you. And in the end, it worked. They are fine. They will never know what you did to keep them alive. But you know. You work at the prison for another 2 years after the trial. You cannot bring yourself to quit. If you quit, it means you are running from what you did. So, you stay. You walk the same corridors. You see the cell where Marcus used to live. You pass Riley's old station every morning and remember the way he used to laugh at terrible jokes. The other guards do not know you were the informant. They think you are just another guard who survived a bad situation. They respect you for staying. They think you are strong. You are not strong. You are just stuck in the space between who you were and who you became. And there is no version of this story where you are the hero. You go home every night to a wife who is alive because you broke the law, to kids who are happy because you helped plan an escape, to a life that looks normal from the outside, but was built on a foundation of choices you can never take back. You did not start out corrupt. You started out desperate. But somewhere in the math between cancer treatment and $5,000, you stopped being the guard who followed protocol and became the guard who would do anything to protect his family. Marcus understood that. The FBI understood that. Everyone who used you understood that a desperate person is not a person anymore. They are leverage. They are a tool. They are ammunition in someone else's war. You wanted to save your wife. You did. But the cost was not just money. It was the version of yourself who believed that following the rules mattered. The version who thought there were lines you would never cross. You crossed all of them. And the worst part is you would do it again. Because when you are holding your wife's hand in an oncologist's office and she is crying because she thinks she is going to die, rules do not matter. Ethics do not matter. Nothing matters except keeping her alive. That is not a justification. That is just the truth. And the truth is, you are a prison guard who smuggled packages for an inmate and helped kill a man and betrayed everyone who trusted you. And you would make the same choice every single time, because the alternative was watching your wife die. You are not the victim in this story. But you are not exactly the villain either. You are the guard who was caught between two impossible choices and picked the one that let him look his family in the eyes, even if it meant never being able to look at himself in the mirror again. 5 years later, you still work at Westfield Correctional. Your wife is still in remission. Your daughter is playing college soccer on a scholarship. Your son is a sophomore in high school. They do not know what you did. They will never know. Thomas Riley's son just turned 8. He is growing up without a father. Marcus is in federal prison, serving life without parole. The FBI agent who ran your case retired and moved to Florida. Everyone moved on except you. You are still standing in the same place, still walking the same corridors, still carrying the weight of the choice you made when you nodded at Marcus and decided that your family's life was worth more than your integrity. You were right. It was worth more, but that does not make it feel any lighter. You trained with him. You had coffee with him every morning for 4 years. He has a wife and a 3-year-old son. The warden calls an emergency meeting. She is furious. She says the escape was coordinated. Professional. The inmates knew the exact route, the exact timing, the exact moment when the van would be most vulnerable. Someone on the inside provided information. Internal Affairs starts an investigation. They pull security footage. They audit communications. They interview every guard who had contact with the escaped inmates. You know before they tell you. You know because you recognize 2 of the names on the escaped inmates list. They were in DB block. They were part of Marcus's network, and the packages you smuggled contained the information that made their escape possible. You helped them plan it. You brought in the blueprints and the schedules and the guard rotations. You handed Marcus everything he needed to orchestrate an escape that killed your friend. Internal Affairs calls you in for questioning. They ask if you noticed anything unusual, any suspicious behavior, any indication that an escape was being planned. You say no. You lie directly to their faces while your friend's widow is planning his funeral. They do not suspect you, not yet. You are a 6-year veteran with a clean record, but they are reviewing security footage and there are cameras everywhere. It is only a matter of time before they see something. You go home that night and you cannot look at your wife. She is alive because you smuggled those packages. Your daughter has soccer cleats because you helped plan an escape. Your son has braces because you gave Marcus the tools to kill Thomas Riley. You tried to tell yourself you did not know. You tried to tell yourself you were just smuggling documents, but the documents were instructions. The instructions were a weapon, and you put that weapon in Marcus's hands. 3 days after the escape, the FBI shows up at the prison. Not internal affairs, the actual FBI. Because the escape was not just inmates breaking out, it was part of a larger organized crime operation. Marcus was not just running a prison gang. He was coordinating with cartels and trafficking networks across 6 states. The packages you smuggled were not just escape plans. They were orders for hits and shipments and territorial expansions. The FBI has been building a case against Marcus for 18 months. They have been watching the prison. They have been monitoring communications, and they have security footage of you delivering packages to his cell.